Good morning, YouTube. It's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome to another live commentary. I delayed this one long enough, so it's time to do it. It's October 17th, 2022, and I'm finally doing David Cronenberg version of The Fly, the 1986 remake, the one with Jeff Goldblum. So this is R-rated. It's 95 minutes, so let's get to it because I got a long day ahead of me. This is the slip cover. Be afraid. Be very afraid. I've seen the original more than this one because I saw the original as a kid because it was like a G-rated movie, even though there was blood in it. Next time I'll do the sequel, The Fly 2. So. David Cronenberg, very successful, Canadian director. The Fly, yeah. And it is different from the original. It's not just a carbon copy. That's what worked about movies in the 80s compared to now, where it's just shot for shot. It's just the same movie, just done worse with CGI. Now, this doesn't have CGI. This has Gina Davis in it, too. Neither one of them are in the sequel, but the sequel is continuity. Because they have a son at the end of this one, and then he becomes the next Fly. But it's funny how the sequel doesn't have a downbeat ending like this one does. Both this and The Return of the Fly from the 50s. The worst Fly is Curse of the Fly. It's a British version and it's horrible. It's boring and it has no weight to it. The only good thing is the lead girl. She's attractive. That's about it. Cronenberg also wrote this movie too. Part of the screenplay. Yep. It starts in this with Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, this is what he did before Jurassic Park. Yeah. It's great. It was great to see him back in Jurassic World Dominion. Yeah, he talks like that. Yes, Goldblum talks very fast. That's what he's been talking like that for over 30 years, guys. But he's a good actor, and he's funny, and he has a lot of charm. In Dominion, he actually does something in that movie, unlike in Fallen Kingdom, where he didn't do anything. It's like, welcome to Jurassic World, and that's it. At least in Dominion, him, Sam Neill, and Laura Dern have things to do. They're not just glorified cameos like Force Awakens, where Luke doesn't do a damn thing, Leia doesn't do anything, and then Han does stuff, but then he dies. So this movie didn't do that. Yeah, granted, we know what's going to happen to Goldblum's character at the end, but I'm saying in Dominion they don't kill off the characters from the original, which is a great. That was a good idea. Hey, Little Sims, you just made it. We're 4 minutes in. The effects in this are still great. I mean, they got an Oscar nomination for the effects because it's really good practical makeup and effects that they look better than any CG that they could have done for a Fly right now. I don't want a Fly remake now again because this still holds up. You're not going to do it better. Just beautiful frizzy hair. It's too bad that in the 90s that was the peak of her career because after she did The Long Kiss Goodnight and Cutthroat Island, it was over. Like, she never was a star in a movie again. She played the mom role in Stuart Little 1, 2, and I think 3. Spider-Man 4 is coming in 2024. I know, Diddle Sims. I know. This is not Spider-Man. This is the Fly. Different creature. This is a flying pest that I've seen in so much this year in the basement. At least spiders eat other bugs, you know. Arachnids eat bugs, but flies, they're useless. They're so annoying. Bzz, yeah. He's playing the piano like in Twilight, but it's so that's the pod. Yeah. That's in the original as well. And he has a mullet because it's 1986. So the sequel was in 1980. I think it was 1989. Yeah, it was years later. It wasn't like a rush sequel. Because Cronenberg couldn't come back for the sequel, so they got another director. But it did a good job on it, too. I'm going to do that because I think it's very underrated. People shit on it saying it's not as good as the original. No, but it's not a sequel I regret watching. Like, I don't know, Speed 2. That was horrendous. That was not needed. Mm-hmm. And it's a 95-minute movie. This is not 2.5 hours because nowadays they have to stretch a remake out to over 2 hours, even whether it makes sense or not. This is better than the original. I still like the original's cast more because that one is the one I grew up with. So, but I respect this for doing something different. And it's R-rated. The original was like a G-rated, but with a little bit of blood. Yeah. Because I love David Hedison. You know, I grew up watching his movies when I was a kid. And an adult. Oh, she's taking her shoe. Stockings. I know, guys. I know. But again, I'm a man. I don't get to see this in Star Wars to see the gorgeous legs. So give me this. It is an R-rated movie. There's some nudity in the film. He's going to sniff it. It's silk. And I like that the film gets to the pod right away. In the original, you have to wait for a while because in the original, it takes place in Canada. This is an American version, and they show a murder in the beginning. Here, it takes a long time for him to die. Spider-Man 4, I can see that in the theaters because it's going to be rated PG-13. And I'm like, yeah, Little Sims, the last one you got to see last year. No Way Home was the PG-13, and it came out just about a year ago. And when Homecoming came out, you were like 12, I think, or not even. You were like 8. You were a kid. I mean, I wasn't even a kid when the Sam Raimi movie came out. I was 17. 20 years ago, I was in my teens when that one came out, and that was a long time ago. So only the 90s cartoon, I was a kid when it came out. Teleportation is successful, yeah, because there's no creatures in there. When he does when he experiments on himself, there's a fly in there, and that's how he becomes a fly. Plus, his name is different. It's not Andre. In the original, it was Andre because it was a French Canadian version of the Fly. People keep forgetting that, even though Cronenberg is Canadian, the original film was Canadian, with mostly American actors, Vincent Price, David Hedison, etc. But the lead female was Canadian in the original. And I'm not crying. I'm just getting the cookies out of my eyes, the eye cookie. Because, the movie just started. I mean, come on. Since I've seen the original, I knew what was going to happen at the end, but it's way more brutal. In the original, the a press squishes him. In this one, he gets shot in the head. Spoiler if you haven't seen this movie, but people have seen this film. Are there any negatives in this movie? There's some characters that are not needed in the film. John Getz is the villain. That's fine, but there's another girl that comes into the film where he has sex with, which is not needed. I think that's just forced. They do that in a lot of romantic comedies. Like the guy tries to get over the main girl by going with another girl, and it just doesn't work. Even Spider-Man 3 did that. I mean, Peter isn't with MJ, so he goes with Gwen Stacy. In when he gets the black suit on. That just never works usually. Sometimes it does, but most of the times it doesn't. Plus, this is a sci-fi horror, not just a slasher film. You saw she has a cassette recorder, which no one uses that anymore. So she's like April O'Neil or what's her name, Vicky Vale in Batman, which came out a few years after this. No, 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 no. They have good chemistry. Yeah, I would sniff it because if a woman's stocking is soft and I know guys, I get it because since 2 years of isolation and this, I'm fascinated by women's legs and feet more. I guess because I didn't get that in Star Wars. I mean, the last time I got that was with the prequels with Padme because she showed her back and I think she showed a leg or two. Yeah. Are there any bintos in this movie? No, because this is the '80s, and Cronenberg didn't direct a binto until Robert Pattinson, which was one of his later films. There's John Getz. Also, it's good to hear Gina Davis's voice because it's feminine. The film doesn't get violent until he starts becoming the Fly, because really it starts like a romantic drama, and then it becomes a horror movie out of nowhere. Well, like once you know what's going to happen. And Getz only has a small role in the sequel. He's not the main villain. Have you ever seen the Nikki? No, I haven't seen Nikki, Ricky, Dicky, or Dawn. I think the girl that plays Dawn is adorable though. Lizzie Green, she's so cute. Those kids are just what the other kids. I just didn't think they were that talented. Nikki and Ricky and Dicky. I just were like, eh. I didn't see this movie as a kid. I was too young. I was only a year old when this came out in the theater and VHS. I was too young. I got this at Best Buy, which is going to close. My local Best Buy is going to close in about 2 weeks. But hmm, that looks like the diner from Falling Down. Let me eat an apple. Hold on. I need to stay nourished. Apple. Yeah, because a creature. Sure. Neck and eye. burger looks delicious. Two Spin is because the show got popular. Yeah, because of iCarly. Because who created it? Dan Schneider. And he's gone now. The new iCarly, he had nothing to do with. Yeah, you shouldn't have done that, Brundle. Because, when you mess with science, is this the best remake ever? No, not the best, but a good one. I don't know what the best one is. One of my favorites is Little Shop of Horrors because I worked on the show and it meant a lot to me when I watched that film. That's one of my, at least in my top 5, because it's a remake that's superior over the original in every way. Better effects, it's a musical, it's got a better cast, it's more memorable, and just it is the Little Shop that I go to. I have the original, but I prefer the musical. It's just more, my style.